What rich people know but never say. Listen, lean in, and feel the electric hush that fills the moments before a thunderstorm. That vibration in the air is the very same current that hums inside every fortune ever built. Yet most people never tune their ears to it, and so they call success luck, privilege, mystery. But the wealthy, those architects of towering legacies, know something they almost never speak aloud. Riches begin as faint whispers in the mind, long before they become coins in the palm. They guard that secret, not out of malice, but out of reverence, the way a gardener shields seedlings from frost. The first article of this unspoken creed is simple. Reality is clay, and thought is the potter's hands. Observe any self-made titan before their signature adorned a check, it etched itself inside their skull. Henry Ford saw a line of affordable cars gliding down rivers of busy American roads decades before the Model T rattled into existence. He nursed that vision the way a lighthouse guards its flame, shielded from the storms of ridicule and the winds of doubt. You too wield that furnace. When your mindset shifts from spectator to sculptor, the horizons of probability start to bend in your favor. Yet thought alone is not enough. Millions daydream. Few transmute dreams into discipline. Mindset is the governor. Habit is the engine. Andrew Carnegie, standing amid steel that bent sunlight into knives, rehearsed triumph each dawn, imprinting certainty upon his nerves until his feet marched through molten obstacles without complaint. He knew what wealthy hearts know: belief must be hardwired into muscle rehearsed until conviction outruns skepticism. And belief is not a fragile candle. It is a blowtorch that sears doubts into ash. Clarity follows mindset. Like sunrise follows a sleepless night. Most lives drift because their owners never issue precise orders. The mind, Hill wrote, is a fertile garden that will grow whatever is planted, roses or poison. The wealthy plant detailed blueprints, numbers, timelines, dimensions, colors. Thomas Edison did not vaguely wish for a better light. He pictured incandescent warmth flooding dark rooms, mothers reading bedtime stories without a sputtering wick. That specificity magnetized resources the way iron filings race toward a magnet. Vision once clarified must be sealed in purpose, the marrow of enduring wealth. Purpose is the difference between hustle and mission, between labor that drains and labor that ignites. Walt Disney endured 17 rejections, breathing life into a talking mouse, because he served awe, not ego. Purpose will steady your stride when markets quake and critics hiss. It is the iron spine beneath the velvet of your dream. Without it, money dissolves into trivia. Discipline purpose's bodyguard arrives, dressed in unglamorous routines. The richest bank accounts are built from mundane repetitions, pages read at dawn, budgets reviewed by moonlight, calories counted when no one watches. Wealthy minds assign meaning to monotony. Each disciplined act is a vote cast for the person you intend to become. Cast enough votes and identity shifts. Identity once altered writes new rules for destiny. Action is the alchemist that turns mental gold into physical treasure. Yet the action of the affluent is seldom frantic. It is orchestral, conducted by strategy, harmonized by feedback. Observe how Rockefeller studied the viscosity of crude, the way poets study starlight. Then moved chess pieces, railroads, refineries, rebates, until an empire clicked into place. The masses sprint without a map. The wealthy stroll with a compass. Begin each day with the stillness of a general surveying terrain. Identify the leverage point, strike, iterate. Mastery of time is mastery of life. Riches flow toward those who treat minutes as investors, treat capital accounted for, allocated, amplified. Instead of asking, "How do I kill time?" the affluent inquire, "How can this hour compound?" Benjamin Franklin carved slivers of dawn to teach himself French accounting and geometry skills that would later guide kites toward lightning and treaties toward peace. Your calendar is a confession, it reveals what you worship. But greatness does not bloom in isolation. Napoleon Hill's most misunderstood principle. The mastermind is the silent architect behind every skyscraper fortune. When two or more minds ally in harmony, A third invisible intelligence emerges, an unseen board of directors whispering strategies at midnight. Carnegie credited his Steel dynasty to that intangible council. Wealthy individuals curate allies with the precision of jewelers selecting diamonds. Each relationship must refract light, not absorb it. Resilience is the tax fortune charges on the road to abundance, and it is paid in advance. Failures are not detours, they are initiation rites. Edison struck 1,000 dead matches in pursuit of one bulb that would burn. He celebrated each failure as a note from the universe, narrowing the search. Rich minds reframe setbacks as data valuable, non-emotional, actionable. When financial winter bites, they do not curse the ice. They sharpen their blades and survey new hunting grounds. Gratitude, paradoxically, is the accelerant of acquisition. Hill observed that the titans of his era gave silent thanks for fortunes that had not yet arrived, as though the gold were already jingling in their pockets. Gratitude is faith with its sleeves rolled up. It signals to the subconscious that abundance is the expected state, not a distant possibility. Begin with breath, with the pulse in your wrist, with the screen glowing before you. Multiply that gratitude until opportunity feels compelled to keep pace. Adaptability is gratitude's adventurous sibling, forever scanning the horizon for evolving opportunity. The wealthy mutate faster than markets. When Blockbuster clung to late fees, Reed Hastings streamed an empire into existence. When taxis circled stagnant routes, Travis Kalanick coded an app that summoned rides like Aladdin's lamp. Do not anchor your identity to methods. Anchor it to mission. If the road collapses, build wings. If the sky crowds with competitors, dive beneath and mine untapped depths. Learning is the endless fuse beneath sustained success. Carnegie paid Hill to interview giants because he understood the compounding power of intellectual capital. The wealthy devour biographies the way miners pan rivers, seeking nuggets of distinction. They attend seminars, hire coaches, and dissect mistakes with forensic calm. Ego is the enemy of elevation. Curiosity is its passport. Money, when earned through conscious creation, is liquid permission. Permission to build, to heal, to explore. It is not the root of evil. It is the root system of potential. Observe Oprah Winfrey irrigating educational deserts, or Elon Musk funneling capital into rockets that needle the ceiling of the possible. Wealth is a tool. Character wields it. Without character, money magnifies foolishness. With character, it multiplies miracles. Therefore, cultivate internal wealth. First, integrity, empathy, courage. Discipline must mature into rhythm, an almost musical momentum that lifts you beyond effort. Consider athletes who train until sweat becomes symphony, or writers who bleed ink until sentences breathe on their own. Hill called this hypnotic rhythm the autopilot of excellence. The rich engineer environments where success is the path of least resistance. Healthy food within reach, mentors on speed dial, goals plastered across every surface. Design your habitat so triumph is not a decision but a default. Now speak the language of numbers, for wealth is measured in mathematics long before it is measured in mansions. Budgeting is not deprivation, it is declaration. When John D. Rockefeller kept a ledger at 16, noting every nickel earned or spent, he was declaring dominion over chaotic chance. Track inflows and outflows until they march in orderly rows. Then, direct surplus toward assets that breed more surplus dividends. Intellectual property, scalable technology. Vision without execution is a love letter never sent. Execution demands deadlines, accountability, and iterative courage, the willingness to release a version that is imperfect but alive. Amazon began as a bookstore in Bezos's garage. Now it maps entire planets of commerce. The wealthy press publish before the timid press perfect. Perfectionism is a velvet-lined coffin for dreams. Bury it and march forward with prototypes in your arms. Communication is the currency that purchases collaboration. Observe how successful people pronounce ideas with the clarity of ringing bells. They enroll investors, inspire teams, negotiate deals, and resolve conflict through precision of speech. Lincoln practiced oratory by the fire, translating dense legalese into frontier poetry. Master your tongue and you will command armies of opportunity. Words are wands, wield them to conjure futures. Risk to the affluent is not a leap into darkness, but a calculated stride across a measured gap. They conduct due diligence like cartographers mapping cliffs before they cross. Yet once the map is drawn, they move with unbreakable conviction, because indecision corrodes potential faster than failure. You need not reckless bravery. You need informed audacity. Research until fear subsides into respect, then move. Self-image forms the ceiling on achievement. Hill wrote, "No man may rise to fame and fortune without carrying with him the belief that he can do so." Wealthy individuals inscribe victory on the mirrors of their minds. They use affirmations, visualization, and the gravitational pull of high standards. Walk today as the millionaire who already inhabits your tomorrows, and time will hurry to bridge the gap. Health is the vault that guards every treasure. A fortune means nothing from a hospital bed. Read the routines of prosperous innovators, and you will find morning sunlight, tightened laces, disciplined plates. Invest in sleep, movement, and nutrition, or pay compound interest in fatigue and fog. The wealthy whisper this lesson among themselves: the greatest wealth is energy. For with energy you can mine every other resource beneath the sun. Environment extends beyond the physical. Digital landscapes shape destiny with equal power. Curate your feeds as ferociously as you curate investments. Unfollow cynicism, mute mediocrity, subscribe to brilliance. Algorithms are mirrors, teach them to reflect your highest intent, and they will flood your senses with tools and mentors instead of noise. Legacy, not luxury, is the drum beneath sustainable fortune. When Hill interviewed the great men of his century, he found their eyes drifting beyond their own lifetimes. They planted oak trees whose shade they would never sit beneath. Carnegie endowed libraries. Disney bequeathed wonderlands. Lincoln gifted a more perfect union. Wealthy minds measure success in centuries, not quarters. Service is the twin flame of wealth. Money chases value delivered. Solve a dull ache for a handful and earn a living. Solve a burning pain for millions and earn a legend. Steve Jobs shrank computers into pockets, and the world rained treasure upon him. The unspoken truth is brutally simple: no one gets rich by taking. They get rich by giving multiplied through systems. Systems are the scaffolding that lifts service beyond human limitation. Wealthy individuals automate, delegate, iterate. They document processes so excellence is reproducible by ordinary hands. McDonald's turned a hamburger into a global currency through systemized consistency. Whatever craft you command, extract its recipe, bottle its essence, and let it march across continents while you sleep. Mentorship is the shortcut. Time respects. By standing on the shoulders of giants, you trade bruises for blueprints. Hill himself was mentored by Carnegie, who spent an afternoon outlining the philosophy that became Think and Grow Rich. Seek out those who live the future you desire. Offer value. Absorb perspective until your worldview stretches to panoramic size. Courage must be replenished daily. It leaks through headlines, criticisms, and the quiet doubt that ferments in solitude. Rich minds install rituals to refill the reservoir. Cold plunges, meditation, calculated discomforts. Comfort zones are padded cells, pleasant, safe, and final. Each day, locate the edge of your competence and plant one flag beyond it. Reflection is the silent profit center. Amid victory laps, the affluent pause to dissect every angle. What worked? What failed? Where did emotion cloud judgment? They convert experience into instruction, transforming moments into manuals for future conquests. Keep a journal like a chemist keeps a lab notebook. Within its pages lies compound wisdom. Generosity ignites an invisible market force. When you give without tally, you enter a current that sweeps you into rooms dollars alone cannot unlock. Deals happen over dinners paid for by gratitude. Partnerships bloom in the soil of goodwill. Probability favors the helpful. Live in a way that makes others silently root for your rise, and you will find hands lifting you when you stumble. Faith, finally, is the power plug connecting every principle to cosmic circuitry. Hill defined faith as visualization and belief in the attainment of desire. But he also hinted at something grander, an energetic law that bends reality toward conviction. The wealthy, whether religious or secular, cultivate a deep-seated certainty that the universe is pro-growth. Replace if with when, and watch unseen doors pivot open. Perspective turns mountains into stepping stones. When ordinary eyes see crisis, rich eyes see compression pressure that births diamonds. During recessions, assets go on sale. While crowds stampede toward scarcity, the wealthy scoop opportunity from the bargain bin of panic. Train your gaze to locate the upside in every downside. Networking, the art of weaving social capital, is a compound interest vehicle few accurately appraise. Each authentic connection is a node in a lightning grid. Strike one, and energy arcs across the network, illuminating partnerships and ideas. Wealthy individuals introduce, rather than withhold, edify, rather than envy. They circulate influence like currency, multiplying it through generosity. Brand in the modern era is reputation wearing a digital coat. It travels faster than rumor and endures longer than advertising. Tesla's valuation rides on narrative as much as kilowatts. Craft your personal brand as deliberately as a sculptor chisels marble values. First voice, second visuals, last. Consistency is credibility's mother. Innovation keeps fortunes young. Kodak decayed because it archived nostalgia instead of inventing tomorrow. The affluent allocate budget to R&D even when quarterly earnings beg for trimming. Cultivate a laboratory mindset, hypotheses, experiments, iterations. Celebrate being wrong quickly so you can be right enduringly. Emotional intelligence wraps steel principles in velvet grace. Deals die when egos duel. Deals live when empathy mediates. Study body language. Calibrate. Tone. Listen between sentences. Wealthy people rarely announce this skill, yet it oils every hinge in the mansion of opportunity. Taxes, the mundane scaffolding of civilization, are navigated by the wealthy with strategic foresight. They consult advisors, leverage legal frameworks, root income through trusts and foundations. Ignorance is donation. Knowledge is preservation. Commit to learning the code that governs cash flow and keep more soldiers on the battlefield of investment. Philanthropy polishes the mirror of self-regard. Money gains meaning when it becomes medicine for communal wounds. You need not wait for billions. Begin with a scholarship, a food drive, a microloan. The act enlarges your financial lung capacity. The more you exhale, the deeper you inhale. Artistry infuses commerce with soul. Inject artistry into your work, and price becomes a footnote. People pay not for leather, but for the story stitched into it. Your uniqueness is intellectual property. Patent it in the marketplace of authenticity. Silence, paradoxically, is a wealth multiplier. In the quiet, ideas crystallize. Intuition whispers, and stress exhales. The affluent schedule silence the way others schedule meetings. Inside that hush, they tune the instrument of their mind until strategy plays in perfect pitch. Play at last is the ignition of creativity. A mind welded to grind grows brittle. Leisure, when purposeful, lubricates cognition, breeds serendipity, and reminds the brain why it first dreamed. Rich people do not apologize for play. They recognize it as incubation disguised as downtime. And so we arrive at the crescendo, the moment the orchestra of principles converges into one thunderous chord of possibility inside your chest. Hear it, the drum of mindset, the violin of vision, the horns of discipline, the flute of gratitude, all swelling toward a single, irreversible decision. Decide now that wealth is not a marble statue reserved for the lucky. It is wet clay spinning beneath your fingertips. Shape it. Close your eyes and see the ledger of your life balanced in your favor. Relationships, radiant body. Vigorous accounts. Abundant impact. Immeasurable. Feel the sensation of standing on a summit. Only you could scale wind combing through hair damp with earned sweat. Smell the ozone of potential crackling around you. Taste the metallic thrill of fear transmuted into fuel. This is not fantasy. It is preview. Open your eyes and meet the dawn with deeds. Write the email that terrifies you. Launch the prototype sign-up for the course. Fire the excuse. Install rituals like ramparts. Morning solitude. Midday review. Evening gratitude. Feed your mind biographies instead of gossip, your body strength instead of sugar, your soul purpose instead of distraction. Fortify every gate through which mediocrity once slipped. Speak your vision aloud until the air itself memorizes your ambitions. The universe, like an attentive concierge, arranges reality for those who articulate boldly. Then act until your footprints carve channels deep enough for destiny to follow. When resistance claws at your ankles, smile. It is proof you are dragging tomorrow into today. Remember the secret that wealthy lips seldom part to reveal money is minted in the mental mint first. Guard that mint. Let no scarcity-scarred opinion vandalize its machinery. You are sovereign here. You and no other set the interest rates of possibility. When you falter, and you will review this covenant. Thought becomes belief. Belief fuels action. Action compounds into habit. Habit crystallizes into character. Character magnetizes destiny. Trace the chain backward whenever a link feels weak. Mend it in real time. You are both blacksmith and knight, forging and wielding the sword of your own salvation. Now breathe. Inhale accountability. Exhale complaint. Inhale ambition. Exhale permission slips signed by fear. Inhale wealth. Exhale the urge to apologize for wanting more. Feel the rhythm settle. A heartbeat synchronized with every innovator who refused the lullaby of average. Sustain that rhythm by surrounding yourself with symbols of progression charts that climb books with broken spines. Mentors whose calendars are continents of achievement. Replace decor with dashboards, trinkets with targets. Exposure expands valuation of yourself, of opportunity, of obligation. Master both patience and urgency. Let your days be sprints stitched into marathons. Balance the long gaze with the short strike. Wealthy individuals plan decades ahead, but execute as though the deadline were dusk. Cultivate humor. Seriousness without levity calcifies into arrogance. Lincoln punctuated war councils with jokes deflating despair so strategy could breathe. Crack a smile at the absurdity of setbacks. They lose power when mocked. Practice forgiveness like a seasoned accountant writes off bad debt. Resentment is an overdraft fee on mental capital. Release betrayal. Extract the lesson. Reinvest in trust wisely, not blindly. Finally, honor time by teaching. Transfer principles while they're still warm in your hands. Mentor those climbing the ladders you've welded. The richest legacies are franchises of wisdom. Yet even as you depart this moment with lungs full of lightning, understand the final truth. Rich people whisper only to those ready to hear abundance is a frequency, and frequencies require tuning. Come back to the controls daily. Adjust the dials of thought emotion and focus the way a pilot trims altitude. Some mornings you will wake to static news feeds, family drama, market tremors trying to jam your signal. Do not panic, recalibrate. Recognize that money is loyal to momentum. Coins roll toward kinetic minds. Keep rolling. Launch micro ventures. License ideas, plant orchards of income in varied climates. Study contracts with the scrutiny of a jeweler under loop. Words on paper outlast handshakes and memory. Acquire legal literacy until clauses speak to you like sheet music, revealing harmonies and hidden traps. Leverage technology as the great equalizer it is. Algorithms once reserved for skyscraper firms now fit inside smartphones. Wealthy minds see gadgets not as toys, but as trebuchets flinging influence over walls once guarded by gatekeepers. Guard reputation as knights guarded Excalibur. In an era where a careless tweet can incinerate empires, prudence is profit. Say less and do more. Let results precede rhetoric. Convert victories into velocity by celebrating briefly and documenting thoroughly. Acknowledge the win archive. The process then set a higher bar. Standards once raised must never be lowered. Cultivate aesthetic appreciation. Beauty is a silent persuader. Steve Jobs obsessed over fonts because he understood elegance magnetizes trust and trust lubricates transactions. Let beauty be your silent salesman. Remember, too, the mineral called joy. If pursuit becomes perpetual strain, wealth will taste like sawdust. Insert music friendships, sunsets unfiltered by lens. Joy is the interest your spirit earns on invested effort. And when twilight drapes itself across your decades, may you look back on a mosaic of deeds, companies born, communities, uplifted children, educated under scholarships bearing your signature. Let the annals record that you lived in crescendo, each year, louder, richer, kinder than the last. For now, step forward. The next page in this unwritten ledger is impatient for ink. Your pen is primed with potential, your mind armed with principles, your heart armored with purpose. Write boldly. The silence of the wealthy has ended. Their secrets are yours. Guard them, practice them, and one day pass them on, whispered into eager ears beneath the thunder of your own rising legacy.